Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Fusion Architecture channel. I'm your host, Daniel Escobar. And today we have a great guest, Ozan Ertug. And he's going to be talking to us about how he's using AI in architecture. So blending expertise with AI-enhanced eco-building crafts. And Ozan Ertug, he co-founded Synthetic Architecture with Pinar Ongun in 2023. Synthetic architecture is redefining the future of design with over 20 years of combined experience in architecture, education, and ecology. They're fusing AI technology with traditional practices to revolutionize how we design, build, and communicate architecture. Also, like another thing that I want to point out is that I've been following their work for quite a bit since I started the page, the Fusion Architecture, and I've been really impressed because they're one of the few AI users or people that are experimenting with AI and architecture that have developed their own unique style in a way that seems almost constructible. Like you can look at the image and sometimes you have to look twice to see if it's real or not. And it's a very high aesthetic, high quality, curated set of images that also display like really unique forms and concepts that I think could really be constructed or should be constructed eventually. So Ozan, thank you for joining us. The floor is yours and welcome.
Thank you, Daniel. It's so nice to be here. And then, let me then start with the presentation. So, is the presentation is you can see?
Yeah, your screen is on, so you can see
Okay.
the screen. Yeah.
Okay. Me and Pinar, we have a background in architecture. We always, try to find new technologies and new stuff to make more out of architecture and then architecture process, let's say, because it's usually architecture has too many things to take care of in the architecture business, and then most of them is mostly not related to the real philosophy and the conceptual backbone of the architecture, and you need to do stuff that you have to do. And then our most I think things focus on making these more maybe easier, less pain. So we synthetic architecture is very young. We started maybe the usefulness of AI in architecture has emerged, and then we started with the name synthetic architecture. And I think synthetic, and for Pinar, synthetic is the very good definition for what we do. Even before AI, synthetic is the thing that you are doing. The data that we are creating with architectural tools, it's a synthetic data actually. So you produce synthetic data to in order to realize a building. So synthetic architecture is kind of a name that suits what we're trying to do. And then our main issues are about maybe some historical context, because the earth has its history and the earth has its context. So we want to make a peace with that, because most of the modern architecture and the contemporary thinkers are, I think, has an issue with history, that trying to maybe getting something so much away from history. But we think that it lays the foundation is lays in the history, and we want to check out the history, and then think about the present realities, and then base the forward thinking over these top two foundations. So I'm like a 2006 graduate, but I was more involved in the university also with working in architecture. So it's like a 20 years or something experience for me, with lots of buildings, constructed, and I don't know, maybe more than hundreds conceptual projects with big companies, and then my own company also. Pinar has also too much, like, has some experience. She has also an advantage in timber construction and timber, handicrafts. She has a tendency on that, so she has this advantage on top of me. As we said, like synthetic architecture starts with the kind of we wanted to use Instagram for showing out what we do and then getting the feedback and then talking to people about how we can use and how we can apply AI in architecture. It's mostly, architects just deal with their own surroundings when talking to architecture and their clients only. But we wanted to, make this available to people around and people universally in all over the world. And we tried to, if you see our work, we try to use different techniques, different vernacular techniques, different materials, and then combine them in different situations. Not just too much, like we don't want too much, technology, high tech, seem like buildings, but maybe a little bit things that goes good with the context, goes good with the surroundings, and then we try to make research on that. But we have, as I said, lots of things going on with the build architecture. We have some ecological buildings happened in Turkey and abroad, and then we have some competitions, things that we have, have some awards around. So this is a like mostly it was an architectural process we had before, and then we now added AI aided enhanced eco building last 2 years. So we have other also research going on for. She has a global timeline shelter that she's advancing right now. I'm working on 3D concrete construction, and then we have some works on emergency usage of some fast constructed systems for the earthquake happened in Turkey and Syria, as you remember. So we wanted to have some say about things happening around, not just most glorified agenda of a money making business. So we have this too much going on with 1.5 year or 2 years now, and we have too many talks and appearances around. And diffusion architecture is the last one like now, and we really appreciate their call to make this call. So for looking back in the architecture, we have our research, we have our own research about what happens in the 20th century, so that AI has come to that point that we can use it in architectural production. But AI was used before, but not that in an apparent way. So we have this timeline that's showing how hardware, how software, and how events and architecture actually layered on in the time, and what made the other advancements possible. As you can see, maybe I don't know from my screen, at the end of 1990s, the most of the software we are using right now, 3D Studio Max, like Autodesk programs, Katya, Rhino, and Maya and Revit, was introduced at that point. And also, it's a question that why are we using the same softwares from the 1990s till here, like 30 years? It's a question, but I think it started to change. So I'm moving to the millennium. And then at the end of the millennium, as you know, for 2 years, we have too much things going on. And then at the end of 2020s, I think the start of the one exhibition is important that I was also introduced in most of the stuff about AI in architecture is it's Stanislas Chalu. He's also the co-founder of Rayon, and he made this exhibition in Pavillon de l'Arsenal, and it's called Artificial Intelligence and in Architecture exhibition. And then he has this website also about this, and then also he had a book about it. So I think it was a very good start for me that I introduced. It was a good reading and good exhibition to understand AI in architecture and what's going on. And if anyone want to go make an introduction about that, I think that's a good point to start. So this is a chart we made about how things will move on with AI aided architecture, and then I think a little bit it started to feel like that. You may see these percentages around, and you when you think about design process, you may see some percentages started to seem around there, but I think it will be in the future. There will be the idea will be if it's a preference. Like for me, it's 20% of idea used with AI. Most of the ideas coming from me, but I use 20% to enhance my ideas with AI. Uh, and I put this into the building latent space. You can say building latent space is like if an AI has a large language model that having everything defined for this AI system, then you can say building latent space is the large model of the building, because from that building latent space you build the building. But buildings are usually a frozen piece of the process. Like you have too many options, you have too many ideas going on around, and then at the end you just build one building in the real world. But this is something that's only today we are doing it like that. Maybe in the future you may have the option to transform the building by itself. But right now we are freezing the building in its latent space. So we add the idea and the building model in that latent space. I think building model will get 40 to 80% AI aided, and then I think BIM modeling should be, I'm saying 70-90% AI here in the chart, but it should be taken care of AI. Like BIM model is a vast, collection of data, and then a human cannot, control that much of the data. So AI systems will be more capable of doing that. And then realization and building care also will have some AI percentage, AI and robotics, let's say. And then this is what we are using right now. Maybe starting from the idea, we add ChatGPT and other Midjourney and DALI and Stability AI usage. As you see, there's a pencil thing there. I always use sketching in the middle of everything, like it's in the center mostly. And then rhinoceros is my modeling station for most of the stuff. And right now I think we are seeing usage of Autodesk Forma. It was before space, I don't remember the name exactly, but Autodesk bought this AI simulation program, and it's now Autodesk Forma, and it's very fast in wind analysis and energy analysis, stuff like that. And we use Forma a lot for these environmental simulations. And then we use Rayon as a light BIM solution, as a web-based solution. And then we are trying to use Finch 3D for the AI planning solutions, but I I couldn't find too much comfort in that yet. I think it's getting in the way. And also, so everything is connected in the BIM model, and then from the BIM model you go on with the construction and realization. So this is what I was talking about. Architects always producing synthetic data, but right now I added this AI and bots program section for that. So architects program and use AI to generate synthetic data, and then architects add their own synthetic data from their own manual programs, and then architects curate this synthetic data and add it up to the real data. So the data you have, like the geographic data and other sun data and stuff, is enhanced with the synthetic data, and you're ready to realize a building. This works like that. What we are doing is basically creating synthetic data and simulations to realize a building. This is a the modeler of Le Corbusier. He shows his own human ergonomies about the in the modeler, and we just wanted to make a version of on a modeler that not just concentrate on human, but all life forms, and also maybe all life forms includes not just organics but also inorganics, like a river, the earth itself, a rock, and something that a soil is also, I think, the piece of the design. So this is a this graphic is made with AI, and I put this here to show you that if I have a story to tell you, if I have something to tell you in something like presentation or talk, this is a so good way to put my ideas and then my feelings into some graphics. And this graphic is not an exactic, but it shows what we are seeking for the modeler of the all life forms. Let's talk about some our latest, AI to realization works, because we have a chance to right now starting to use the AI based, ideas into realization. This is the mobile garden we proposed for the Melbourne Design Week, and then from the inspiration we did create an AI storytelling based system, a story, and then Melbourne Design Week accepted our proposal, and then we started to implement it to the real world. The picture in the middle is not a real picture, but it's enhanced with AI, so it seems so real. We didn't use any V-Ray or Chaos or any other rendering engines for that. It's a good thing for me, because I always hate making too much effort for that. So this came out, and then we prototyped it in Turkey, and then we put it in a luggage, because it's a demountable thing. We put it in a luggage. We bought another tricycle in Melbourne, and then we put it there together, and then we showed it in Melbourne streets, and it was a success, and we loved the process, starting with AI to realization. And this is a prototype drawing of the mobile garden. And this is something that I didn't show anywhere. I asked yesterday to my client about, can I share it with the world about what we are doing. Uh, we are building a residence in Dubai, and then our customer exactly came to us from our Instagram page, and he was like, I have a villa, and then do you want to, yeah, can you build it? And we said, yeah, like, yes, because we are not, we are also having expertise in architecture, not just, AI storytellers. So we started with, he liked the picture on the left, and then we adapted it into the image in the middle. And then right now we have this BIM model that we are preparing to adapt it to the real world. This is not like the left converts in the right, but I'm just saying that we started with the basic Rhino model, and then Rhino, show things, and then go to the right. But the thing on the left is also very, acceptable for me as an architect. This has no difference is in the quality. The quality of a rendering mostly goes on with the normal people that they are not architects, so they just want to see the real thing. So these things in the left and the right, they are equal for me, but they are different for the client. So this is happened yesterday. My Enscape just stopped working because I didn't want to show too much, render stuff in the early stage. But because my Enscape stopped working, I created the the image on the right with the help of the left. And also it was a challenge. I said, like, I have too little time, and then can I do it this time with a very real picture going into the render? And then it came out so good. It won't work like that usually, but this is a very good solution here. And then I wanted to show it to you. It's a digital modeling to AI enhanced render, and it worked, and the client really liked the outcome. So this is what we are using for the conceptual process. We use mostly Rayon, light beam solution. But when we go to the design development, we use Revit for the more capable, modeling. And then sketching is always there. I'm not a let's say computer junkie. Like, I always stop using computer in at some point. I draw some stuff and then clear my head, and also I draw some stuff to solve things that I cannot solve using the computer, and then come back to digital modeling after that. And sketching is always the best way to clear your mind and make solutions faster. So at the end of my presentation, I can say, like, we are visioning a vernacular wisdom combined with a technological innovation. There's this thing happened yesterday, like, the place we are building with my client in Dubai. They have this design brief, and then they are saying in 2017 you should build a modern building. But the modern building has these standards, like gray and brown aluminum, and then white plaster, and then concrete and stuff. And I said, let's just go to them and say, like, this is 2024, and then I think things go very good in 7 years. And then right now we have contemporary vernacular is more important than the processed aluminum or other materials. So I think we are at that point, and I'm so proud of that for the world and for the contemporary architecture, that we have this vernacular wisdom, and we are seeking to go through that vernacular wisdom with our synthetic architecture. Also the practice, and also the Instagram page as a side thing. Thank you.
Okay, awesome, Ozan. That was great. really interesting, and I'm actually pretty happy that you show a project that hasn't been shown before. It's really interesting to see that you're actually getting to build these projects that like you look at your Instagram account, and some of them are really like you can almost tell like you wonder if they're already built. Um, so th this was awesome. Great presentation. I really enjoyed it a lot. I think also the way that you structure some of the diagrams and how you're representing your understanding of what is currently happening really makes it clear how you, as an architect that's been practicing for some time now and have the experience of architecture, can take advantage of these new technologies to push forward, let's say, your practice of architecture and what is possible. So I'm really happy to see that. So now let's go a little bit back in time and maybe let's talk a little bit about your background. Like how did you start? You studied in Turkey, right? But were you interested always in like tech stuff? I know in your bio you used to talk a little bit about the tech stuff. Were you always interested in tech stuff, or did that emerge as you went through like architecture school?
Uh, I think like this is a very funny story that I was working in the photography shop of my uncle, and then at that time I have this computer in my house, and then but like I wasn't using it for mostly designing or doing anything. It was just gaming, but I think. Playing the strategy games, and then my main language is not English, so playing on games and stuff, and then trying to solve out problems that you don't understand, going making research, and then solving the problems, and trying to achieve stuff is made a really good break in me. And then my uncle said, like, why are you using this PC? Like, you're wasting your time. And I was like, no, it's a good thing, and it will be the future. And then after 5 years he started using the PC himself. Like, in the beginning it was all manual in his photography shop, and then he turned into PCs himself, because PC is something like the aid of a human. It's like a machine counterpart of a human. Human trying to make stuff, and then he just invents to make stuff faster for the machines for itself. So I was always intrigued with the machine itself. But I'm not so much, very capable of coding or other under the hood stuff. But I
Hmm.
always, I was always a power user, I guess, to make things, getting things together, and then using them for doing stuff. So it started with that, I think, the games and stuff, and then in the games, there's an achievement stuff. You need to finish things, and then you get a badge and stuff. And I think in architecture, I always work like that. Like, I have to finish this, and then send it to the client so he can pay me.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's pretty interesting because I think like some of the architects or people that I talked to in the past that also starts experimenting with technology, certainly they come also with like some sort of background of like kind of like tech things or messing around, tinkering with things. So it's kind of cool to see that. And then to follow up on that, so when you started like I guess practicing architecture after school, was there like a specific project type that you worked on or you like working on? You're talking about fusing like vernacular wisdom. So like, did you always have that in your mind, or was that something that evolved over time?
uh, like uh, I started before graduating,
Hmm.
working with the projects, because I think it was 2000 in the beginning of millennium, and then one of the master students have this thesis, and it was so
Hmm.
neat that time, and then he introduced us that computer aided design in that time. So I was in the group that's using the computer, and then there are other 6 person that not using the computer. So I was using the
Hmm.
computer for designing, and then I learned 3D Studio Max there. and it was like a so intense, learning from a master student. And then so I started working with 3D Studio Max because there were not much people, like not much architects that know 3D Studio Max that good in my country. So I get too much stuff. Started working
Hmm.
with that, and then but in one point I saw that I'm becoming a 3D modeler. It was paying too good, but I also graduated from a design school in Turkey. So I told myself like I need to go somewhere with paying less maybe, but somewhere that practicing architecture. So I think I went from one of my friends, working in a big company, GAD Architecture in Istanbul, and it's like one of the right now this year I think they are in the 100 firms in Arcelo list. They are a big company, and I'm still working parts with them and part in my company. So I started with there, and then there are like too many big projects. I just go in, dive in, and then after 5 years I was in too many projects working on that. But after 8 years I think I was in a limit, and then I leave the company to just to see around, then what can I do, what's I'm capable of. So I introduced to ecological practices with one of my friends, and then we go build some ecological, quality buildings and stuff in the south of Turkey, and then east of Turkey, some several buildings. And then the vernacular, I think the vernacular wisdom implemented in my mind at that point, like you can use the vernacular wisdom and some technology, and then you can have a better building with less constructed parts, and then with cultural integrity, and then that people can like. Right now I don't know, mostly the ecological wisdom and then the climate wisdom comes with the boredom. And then I see fun and design in vernacular, like local vernacular. But
Hmm.
uh, right now in Europe, the climate and then ecological practices usually going so boring. So I wanted to keep on the not so much technological ecology, and then carbon footprint and stuff, and the percentages and the numbers. That's okay. Like we need to take care of that. But uh, if the building comes out as boring boxes and then goes on like that, I don't think it's much ecological. It's not there for me. So I think I'm trying to trying to catch on that, how to do that.
Yeah, that's really interesting because it ties, I guess, like your design when you're designing something to a locality or a region that you kind of have to be familiar with and then do research. And maybe like I think one of the things that you mentioned is like in your presentation was the idea of like this house, right? Like the brief was like a modern brief and it has like
Mhm.
this qualities, right? But it's like what else can you do besides that? And that can be a house in one part of the world or in another part of the world, and it would probably look the same versus taking something that is unique from that local context and seeing how
Mhm.
you can combine it and develop something that would be unique there. So I think that's really interesting, and maybe talk a little bit about that because I think the idea of being able to use kind of like this traditional vernacular or materiality from local context when you use it within AI, do you find those representations similar to those locales, or is it something that you can mix and match and then see kind of novel ideas emerge from that?
Uh, I think AI, the logic of AI is
Hmm.
somehow you need to make a literature base to use AI in a better way. I'm not saying like you need to have a literature base, like you need to finish a graduate program. But uh, you need to understand how you define a space. Like you need to maybe read some Le Guin, read some, other science fiction or normal, authors telling about you about our constructed or natural landscapes and stuff. So for me, I think I always like, science fiction. I'm also trying to,
Mm,
as an aspiring, architect and then doing stuff. I also have this thing, like I'm trying to write my own science fiction novels and stuff, but it's so hard. Like for an architect, you don't have
mhm,
anything to do in your life. So, but I have to read, and I always like reading and then watching, like always doing so much, literature reading and stuff. So I think this makes my um it's not a monologue, like it's a dialogue with the AI. It's not a monologue. Like
mm,
if you make it a monologue, it just gives you something that biased mostly, like because if you say vernacular adopt hot, this just gave you something most of the times 90% like a biased, underdeveloped uh, image of a building, and then it's
mhm,
always old building and stuff like that. But you need to mix and match things and stuff to understand, and it's something like research is in its own phase. I think from the beginning of, I started using it from the beginning of Midjourney version 4 for the
mhm,
Midjourney and then for other things. And then I do it like every day. It's like you need something like sports. You need to do it every day. You need to
mhm,
find stuff. You need to check. Like I give, there's a description thing in Midjourney, but I
mhm,
don't give the structure of a building to give me the structure of this, building, and then I can reproduce it. I give some materials mostly, like a translucent material. I give it a translucent material, and then I try to understand what the computer sees in that.
mm,
Sometimes it's weird. It's like it says something so out of ordinary, but I just put it inside my prompt to enhance the visibility and then the storytelling of the idea. Because at the end, these AI images is the backbone of the storytelling, and the story is me, and then the story is coming from me, and then I'm illustrating a story there with
mm,
the help of AI. You can do it with hand sketching. You can do it with a V-Ray user modeler can do it. You can do it with, iPad and stuff. This is a new way of storytelling, and then it has its own stuff, and then it has its own ethical problems, as like architecture. I know that most studios still, the old studios still using the Pinterest and then the magazines, and then say like this, and then we do something like that. It If you find an ethical gap, you can find it in every part of design, every part of creation, every part of everything. And AI is not out of this question, but AI is not more evil than all the other,
mhm,
processes. So I think I'm just mixing and matching mostly materials, mostly like sometimes like I want to say something, and for the master, who was the Pritzker Prize winner. He's like I
recent.
recent.
Like the was in a Japanese
No, not the
architect.
Japanese, but before the okay, like his style is, let's not say names. Okay, his style is mostly like conform, making things less complicated, less organic, and less stuff. And I find myself to sometimes make organic matter and organic stuff that goes too many crazy organic stuff, and
Mm.
I use his name to
To tone it down.
lower the organic
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's the best way. Like also there's like Peter Zumthor, but when I use Peter Zumthor, it's like flatten everything, like it just makes
Mm.
everything square and stuff. But that master, I don't give the name because I don't remember right now.
Yeah,
That master's name is making everything less crazy, and
yeah.
then I'm admitting it, like I'm using his name to make things less crazy.
Yeah, yeah. That's so funny that you said that. It is kind of like I never, but it is kind of like using like a Pinterest in like some other more advanced way, right? Or being able to like extract from Pinterest directly, like the essence of like some images in text.
Yeah, most of my
Uh,
masters, like I've learned, and they just put magazines in front of us and then say like, let's put it like that, and then it all worked like that in the past, and then it will work
mhm.
like that in the future if ethical law perspective.
Yeah, yeah. And so let's go a little bit into you have realized some concepts. And how do you guys work together with you and your partner Pinar? Um,
Mhm.
how do you guys work, let's say, as an architect practice to develop these concepts, or is it you're mostly testing ideas, let's say, sketching and then using the AI? Writing a prompt, like experimenting with that? Or do you guys come up with like a concept and then figure, okay, like let's try a few iterations and then if we like something, we can curate? Or I guess like I'm trying to understand
Yeah.
or get a better idea of like how is like the practice of architecture from that perspective evolving with these tools?
Yeah, like for a single person, it's mostly boring because you are producing too much AI stuff. And then at one point, I think I started, because I'm all tech oriented, so I started using AI before Pinar, and then she was like saying me like I was showing her the AI reproductions, and she was like, I don't know. And then she was like not approving it before, but and then she said there is a I think she wanted to try it because she said there is a better way maybe I can apply with the AI in architecture. And I said like, be my guest because I'm all lost because I'm like producing thousands of images daily, and then after producing thousands of images you don't understand what is good and what is bad, like because in architecture I think curation, what is good and what is bad, is mostly about curation. You produce lots of stuff, you see lots of stuff, you need to understand what's good. So that is I think the most crucial part of architecture, being a good architecture. Because being a good architecture is knowing stuff, like understanding stuff, and then understanding your client, and then giving them the more aesthetic or more responsible architecture in some way. But I was lost, and then she joined, then she started creating, and then I was like sometimes talking to her about maybe not this way, we can go this way, like for the projects. But me and Pinar, how we are working, I think it's something like we are changing the roles, but it's something like what a generative AI, engine is working. A generative AI engine works like that. An engine produces a part of it, produces the image, and then there's a discriminator, and then sees the image is usable or not, and then if it's usable, it just shows it the result. So I think me and Pinar has this discriminator and then producer, relationship, and then we're changing the roles most of the times. So I produce, I show it to her, and for 90% of my productions goes to waste because she says like, no, like we're not
Yeah.
going with that. Because for me, I think I'm more on the, maybe I'm more on the crazy side than making buildings less maybe applicable in the materiality, and then in the usage. So what you see in the Instagram is mostly Pinar is keeping me under the control and saying
Yeah.
like, okay, if we want to do something, she's saying, if we want to do something and then show people, we need to make some material research, and then application research, and then we need to make things in that direction. So I'm
Mm.
producing some stuff and then I'm keeping it to myself, and then it's just my hobby. But
Yeah.
for the Instagram, it's mostly yes, we go with the applicable, with the materials, and then the localities. Like we want to
Mm.
match it, and then I think I'm getting used to more liking it, because we always have this small fights about, I don't want to, make too much, applicable stuff. I say sometimes, but I think you can see in some projects that it gets a little bit, research, and then material research, and then application research in some points. So
Hmm.
in these are the points where I just pushed and then integrated some things
Hmm.
in there. But it's mostly, we're changing the roles. Sometimes she comes with very crazy, and I said like, no, like, I don't like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it works pretty well actually. I think working single for AI, it's so hard. You need someone to talk about, and then is it really good? Is it really
Like a critic.
useful?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I think that that's interesting, and that makes sense in the way that I guess as architects we have to be able to critic, and it comes with like design, aesthetic, and things like that, and being able to deconstruct an image. So I think that process that you have back and forth essentially works well because you see some of the images on your profile, uh, and there's some buildings that even though like there's one that I really like on your profile that I always keep going back to. It's kind of like this beach house, but it's made like kind of like a concrete, and it's like a concrete block. And then it has
Oh
like
yeah.
these little columns at the bottom, right? And it's like a beach house, and you have like multiple iterations of that, and even interiors, like these kind of vaulted, like arch interiors. And I'm like, oh, like that's really cool. Like it seems far out, like a little bit, like it does seems a little fantastical, but it gets to the point where you're like, oh, actually, this could probably be constructed, like if you
Uh-huh.
really kind of
Yeah.
like break it down into pieces. And to be able to arrive at that sort of like constructability or like that sort of critique of like what is possible in architecture, I think that's really important, and I think your practice really kind of exemplifies that, I guess, with Pinar and how you guys critique your work. um so that's really cool to see. And then I guess another question that I had for you was, um now that you're actually getting these kind of like projects or like commissions to actually build some of these stuff, um how do you essentially, because you mentioned that you kind of do more of a research, materiality, conceptual research. If you're developing these proposals, you're actually going with that. Are you developing kind of like your own strategy now for design based on incorporating the AI?
Like, let's talk about the latest project. Like,
Yeah.
I'm me and Pinar working for the 3 months now. So actually, when we started with the client, he didn't too much understand that we are working with AI, with the
Hmm.
ideas on our Instagram account, and he kind of asked me to go with the flow and then do something, and he doesn't want to intervene with the ideas.
Hmm.
So uh, so it's new for me. Like in a big company, like as I said, I'm half working with the big company, and then I'm using AI for them, and then they're really showing it to client and getting some results. But it's not like I didn't try to combine AI from the beginning of a project and then try to act with it mostly. So I just I think I kind of afraid, so I started with normal architecture, ways and stuff. So normal modeling and normal things, and then I just tried to enhance the model with the AI, rendering things and stuff. But then my client asked me like, okay, I think this is a progress, and then you need some time to give some other options and then advance it. But I'm seeing some stuff in your Instagram account that is so good.
Mhm.
Why can't we, do something like that? How much time does it take? And at that point, I said like, okay, if I'm using my original idea and then try to develop it, it will take at least 2 to 3 months to make a good concept out of that.
Mhm.
You can do it faster, but I'm working 2 jobs right now because I don't want to, get behind the big construction industry in that company. I'm just working with lots of stuff and then big things going on. But in
Mhm.
my own company with Pinar, we're trying to go start from the beginning, from the basic things and stuff. So I have limited time. So I said like, if you really like something out of these options, just point it, and then
Mhm.
I'll try to adapt it. So I tried that, and then he sent me 3 options, and then one of them is the sandy building you like to.
Mhm. Yeah,
Also,
yeah.
he sent that, and the one of the pink buildings I think Pinar designed, and then one of the I show it in the presentation, and then I made some variations based on the actual dimensions and then ratios of the building, because there is a limit, like there is 8 meters limit and stuff like that. So I used like Photoshop Firefly, this, lots of stuff.
Mhm.
And then for the first time, I think when I finished with the design, I said like, okay, this is a really AI enhanced, design project, because some of the stuff I didn't control, I just let it, and then some of the ratios and stuff I controlled, and then I showed it to the client, and he was like, at that point, he just sold. He just accepted the
Yeah.
concept, and then we finished the conceptual phase at that point, because it was like we I think we had this agreement to finish it in 1.5 months for the
Yeah.
first, and then it was like stuck, and in one point he was saying like, I need to see something different, and then when I changed it to the AI, rendering and enhanced stuff, he just said, that's what I want, thank you,
Mhm.
and let's finish the conceptual process and let's go to the design development process. So it was a really and interesting point, because I gave it, as I said, I started with the games, and then I like achievements. So the achievement there is only capable. I was capable to use AI, and I did that achievement with AI, and then he
Mhm.
paid me with that, and then I said like, okay, this is a realization of using AI in my design process. So I did something, I achieved something. He understand it, he liked it, and then he paid for it. That, I think, that's the point where I applied AI in the system. But still, as I said yesterday, I lost Enscape. Like, I'm using Enscape too much,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I lost Enscape. Then I had to invent something, because it's so hard that converting the
Yeah, yeah.
basic image to that with the
With traditional rendering.
materials and stuff,
Yeah.
like the because those materials are the materials that he chose. Like, it's not
Yeah.
like, hey AI, do me something, like show me some materials stuff, some stuff. I had 1 hour, and then
Yeah.
Escape crashed, and then I just I think the adrenaline have effect on that, so I use Mid Journey, Firefly, Stable Diffusion, everything, like
Mhm.
Stable Diffusion. I said like, I sometimes look. use LookX.
Yeah.
LookX is kind of making something, but I think they're getting behind. I want them to, develop. From here, I'm saying, mind you, please develop
Hmm.
LookX more. So I think that's adrenaline thing. Like I always find stuff when I'm stuck in somewhere and then too depressed, and then I come up with something new, and AI kind of worked in that
Hmm.
point.
Yeah. No, that's awesome to hear. And I think that's like very interesting that you can kind of see where certain software or certain parts of the workflow are being replaced or enhanced. And you're now seeing it. And also I think um this is kind of like another debate, but like a lot of architecture now that people are seeing online can be generated by AI, right? Not necessarily like traditional architect. So clients or people that, oh, let me see, like I want to build something like that image, that they might not know that it's AI. So now you kind of have to see it from that lens too and see kind of what the client's seeing and be able to manipulate based on that.
Yeah.
What you're going to generate. Osan, we're coming up to the hour, and I wanted to ask you, what are like some of the most, or like what are some things about, let's say, where we are in architecture, design, let's say in tech and this kind of industry, that you're most excited about? Like, how do you see the industry evolving? What are you excited about, for yourself?
I think I'm most excited about. Let's say I'm right now. I said I have two jobs going on together. Without AI, I think it won't be possible. Like
Hmm.
this is not something I can manage without using AI. So in the future, I hope that AI gave us some space to stop and think about maybe design philosophy, like conceptual design is not always
Hmm.
like making a fancy building. Conceptual design is mostly about context usually, and then so it needs to thinking about it, and then like sketching and other things. So I'm excited about these things that taking the very things that I don't like to do. I don't
Hmm.
like to, do the Revit thing, the BIM thing. I don't actually like coding, like because
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me, coding is like I like coding as a technologist. I like coding, the idea of coding, but coding is something that you talk to the computer with its language, not your language.
Hmm.
Coding is the computer's language. So we need to start talking with our language to the computer, and then computer needs to understand it at
Hmm.
one point. So I'm excited about that. So I want a dialogue with the machine so it understand me, so I can leave stuff to the machine, and then I go sketch, think, write, and then I go talk to people. We architects just go into our boxes and then try to finish a building, finish an idea, finish an ideology and stuff. And then when we came out there, the the ideas changed, the world changed. As I said, like in the Dubai, they just write down something about a design brief in 2017 for the
Hmm.
whole island, and they said this is the contemporary. And right now in we are in 2024, the contemporary of the Dubai itself, it changed. Not the
Yeah.
Dubai, the world changed. The vernacular hit the world, and then people are using brick, ceramics, and then all kinds of beautiful stuff around. And then in that brief, it says these are old materials and it shouldn't be used for modern buildings. Like
Mm.
architects are sometimes missing the point too much, so we need
Hmm.
to leave this stuff to technology, to the machines. I'm expecting that in the future more. so we can go out and see the world itself, see the world, understand the world, and then touch something like rock and stuff. And then if you want to use a rock, you need to at least touch it in the natural, reserve before using that. Yeah, that's what I'm expecting, I think.
Awesome. And then finally, I guess usually close with this, some final words of advice to maybe young architects or designers that are coming up in this era about the use of technologies or just architecture in general that you would like to share with them.
I think I may sound like my old the people older than me, but I need to, pass the flag a little bit to younger generation. Um I know that you don't want to work for free and stuff, and then don't work for free for people and stuff. But uh, if you do want to do good in architecture, you need to work harder. So if you want your work to pay off, either do it for yourself or either do it for people that has too much expertise in the industry. That's kind of not the thing. I don't want to say this usually to young people, but they are afraid of working at least 1 year in a company right now. They just come to the companies and then they say like, no, that's not my I don't like it.
Mhm.
Yeah, like architecture, as I said, in the future maybe it will change, but architecture is not something you like most of the time. So just bear with us a little bit more and at least work, just finish a year, finish a project, finish something.
Mhm.
Because if you don't finish it, if you don't see it end to the end, you don't understand, like you don't see anything, and then you are a collection of unfinished things that coming together. And then at some point you will feel unaccomplished. Achievement is something like, for me, from me to young generation, try to achieve something, finish it, make a check mark, and then move out. Maybe
Mhm.
first, don't leave things, don't ghost don't ghost people and then go away. Let's finish it something, and then I think it will be better for, maybe your being a good architecture in a way. I sound like my old people
Yeah.
here, but I'm sorry.
No, it's good advice though. It's wisdom. That's what you would call it. It's wisdom, right? Um, all right, awesome. Ozan, thank you so much for joining. I really enjoyed the presentation and the conversation. And I really enjoy seeing you guys' work and how it has evolved over like the last, year and a half or so that I've been following you guys. Um, and I'm looking forward to seeing more. I really want to see some of your work being constructed. So I hope like in a few years from now,
Yeah.
we'll see these little buildings being constructed around the world. I'm excited to see that. I think what you guys are doing is definitely taking like a unique stand in this kind of approach. So I find it really unique. And yeah, I wish you the best of luck and hope we get to see more of these buildings being constructed.
Thank you, Daniel. It was so fun. Like, we always need to talk to each other about what we're doing and what we see the world. And then I like your collection and also diffusion architecture. It always somewhere I check all the time first to see what's new and what's going on. Thank you for inviting me.
All right, awesome. All right, thank you, Osan, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Bye bye. See you later.
Bye bye.